Today's video is presented by the EA Creator Network. Special thanks to EA for providing me early access to Madden 26 so I could record this video. Please keep in mind everything you're about to see is still a work in progress and things could change. If you want to see more early access Madden 26 content, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. What's going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 26 video. In this one, I want to break down a playbook that I personally think is going to be one of the best playbooks to start out the Madden 26 year. Now, more plays will be discovered, metas will be formed, schemes will be had, but looking through the play art and the plays within the Chicago Bears offensive playbook, and the main reason I took a look at it is because Ben Johnson, as you probably know, switched over from the offensive coordinator from the Lions, head coach at the Bears now. I really like the Lions offensive playbook in Madden 25, so I was curious to see how many of those plays and formations carried over to Madden 26, and some of them are there, but this playbook has just about, from a passing standpoint, specifically out of shotgun, every type of formation you're looking for, like normal Y off close. It's got good tight formations, good trips formations, good bunch formations. So I feel like this one's going to be very popular early on, and I'm not going to put out this is not a full scheme, but I'm going to go through the plays that I think will work, and we'll run some on the practice field. I will put out a full guide on this playbook after I have some time of playing online, but I'm definitely going to start the year out in this playbook, and that's why I'm making this video, just to show you the plays to me that look like they're going to work. Most of it's going to be out of shotgun, but, you know, single back, deuce close, and then tight Y off flex have always worked very well for me year to year to year. And looking through these, like if you look at tight Y off flex, you got the 0-1 trap out of single back, usually works pretty well. Wide zone essentially is a stretch play, very good. Halfback zone works very well. So you have a full run scheme out of this, and then if you look at like PA deep out, if you cancel the play action, really good red zone play there, and also Z under curl, especially with route stemming. So all of these plays were in the Lions playbook last year and worked very well. And then deuce close is pretty similar. You have motion duo, which almost looks like a stretch over there on the right, motion zone split, which is essentially the same look but a run to the different side, another 0-1 trap, and those work very well out of single back. Counters don't work great, but you can try the counter Y play there. And from a passing standpoint, I mean, you got your classic bench, that should work here and there, some pretty good motion play action plays, but I think these are two formations that you can alternate between to get a good run game going under center. Now, let's talk about the shotgun plays and formations in this playbook. I have 8 different formations that I think are going to work really well. Sometimes less is actually better, and if you have too many plays at your disposal, your play calling is going to get bad, but there's so many options in here, it's hard to not point them all out. We're going to start with normal Y off close. If you played Madden 25, if you played college football 25, even if you played college football 26, you're probably familiar with this formation. I think the reason it became so popular last year and will be this year as well is because of the route combinations and the spacing. Now, you can no longer get the speed out on the outside routes as one of your hot routes, which I think made this formation even better. So that may hurt it just a little bit, but overall, I think it's still going to work very well. The good spacing from the plays in this formation, you know, is going to be really good to countering switch sticking, and I think that's why it worked so well in last year's game. You know, you got your Y sail play. Now, I do have a video going over 26 tips, gameplay tips for Madden 26 that you definitely need to watch if you don't know about some of the things that I'm talking about in this video. But here is the stock play. The reason this one works very well, or at least the setup, is because you can stem down this corner route. So you're going to bring up your hot route menu, select the receiver that you want to stem. In this case, it's going to be Cole Kmet with X. We're going to hold down L1 for a custom stem, and you can change the length of this route with the up or down button on your directional pad. But, you know, if you stem this route all the way down and then put your backside triangle receiver, Luther Burden III, there in a drag, this is pretty much the setup that most people are going to use, but you can find that spacing on the corner route, and if they overcommit to that, a lot of times the streak over on the same side there with Roma Dunze, it's kind of a unique streak because it cuts inside, then goes back outside, is going to get over the top of a lot of defenses. So this play alone, coming back from Madden 26 and this formation, are going to make it really good. And then you still have things like cheat flack X post, which we'll run here in a moment. You got your jet touch pass. I don't know if this is going to be as good as it was in Madden 25 because it's not great in college football 26 right now, but it's still another option out there. And you also have PA snag with those two default slant routes, and you can kind of just do a handful of things with the other routes. So let's run this one real quick here. Again, you leave the stuff on the left by itself. You can do a handful of things like, what really worked for me a lot was dragging the tight end like this and then putting, our out receiver who he can actually go on that speed out over there on the right. He's not as close to the sideline. If we motioned out our running back to the right, he would not get that speed out like he did in last year's game, but you can still cook up a route combination like this if you want, where you have, 5 different options that are going to be viable, except for in this situation, none of them were, but that's because we're playing against the computer on all Madden. And I think that out route, that speed out from Roma Dunze was actually there. I just kind of missed it on my initial read, but you can see with that quick cut, it is going to beat man coverage pretty consistently. Overall, this play should still work very well. And then you have your cheat flat play, which just running this stock is very good. You're going to look at the tight end, see if you can hit that flat. And typically, if it's uncovered, you're going to be able to rack it up the field there and catch a ton of yards. You can do some different hot routes to this one, like streak or slanting your triangle receiver, putting your running back on a streak, putting Roma Dunze on that speed out again. So you still get the auto motion, you still get the double slants that we just looked at, but you can still also look at the flat. And then you have other options out there with the slants. It's just overall a really good play, and I think is still going to be a great formation this year. Slot right is directly next to normal Y off close, which means if you come out in any of the plays from normal Y off close, it's really going to be like 2 button presses to audible to a different formation, and then also a play within this slot right formation. Now, there's not a ton of good passing options in this one. Like PA wheel, I could certainly see working, but the main reason that I like this is because it has the RPO read Y flat. Now, defenders generally are going to play RPOs better this year, but this one's a little bit different from the popular play last year because your tight end is behind the offensive line rather than directly next to it. And if you were unaware, you can actually hot route RPO routes now. So if we wanted to put DJ Moore on a different route, we actually can. Like, we can put him in a slant if we want. We can put him in a streak. We can put him on a drag. You can change routes on RPOs, but the main reason we're running this one is either to run the ball or to pass it into the flats here to triangle. And again, this one's a little bit different compared to the one that was working last year because he's aligned behind the line of scrimmage and behind the offensive line. I don't know how well speed options will work in Madden opposed to how they do in college football, but you're not going to find too many NFL playbooks with the speed option in there. And in this slot right formation, you have that. Also, you have a nice running play in HB halfback ISO. So I would set those 3 that I just mentioned as some of your audibles. And again, you can quickly hot route an audible from normal Y off close to any of the plays in this formation to mix things up and keep your opponent off guard. And directly to the right of that, in another formation that you can audible from, so you can really go from normal Y off close over to Y off trips if you want, is going to give you some really good plays in here, including the traditional RPO read Y flat. Now, the difference between the last one and this one, again, is where the tight end is aligned. But with this one, and this has worked very well for me in college football 26, you can hot route your RPO receivers, which means if people cheat, over to the flat over here, because this is a really tough play to stop unless you're using that route. If you notice they're cheating over there, you can put Cole Kmet on a streak. You can put him on a post. You can put him on a slant and still run the RPO. And, we didn't get the throw off there in time, but it's kind of like a chess match, essentially, that you can play with the 2 different versions of this play in the 2 different formations. And if you want to get real crazy, guess what? You actually have the halfback direct snap in this formation. I strongly encourage you to put this as one of your custom audibles, because if you can go from normal Y off close with a couple button presses over to this, and then quickly snap the ball, especially in the red zone inside the 5. It's just going to continue to cause headaches against your opponent here. He's not going to know what to do. And like I said earlier, like having too many plays sometimes can be a bad thing, but a lot of these are going to be quick running plays, quick dump offs, quick RPOs. It's really going to keep you off balance. And what I mean by that is like you're going to be unpredictable, and it's really going to have your opponent in a tizzy, not understanding, you know, what's coming next. I want to go over why off trio weak because it's extremely unique and has some double motion plays in there, along with some, you know, standard plays and route combinations that have worked in Madden for years and years and years. But as you may have noticed, the first 3 plays by default when you go to this formation, motion smash go, motion outside zone, and then motion PA deep over are going to give you just one singular motion. But if you go back here, you have these double motion plays, and I'll just run the motion stack Poco, I guess is what it is here. But you're going to notice when we run the play, the tight end's going to motion over first, then the Rome Odunze, the outside receiver, is. Now, you can change those routes if you want. I'm going to change up a couple other things. And I want to be clear here. I'm not even saying these plays are 100% going to work, but they might throw your opponent off, and they're brand new to the point where I feel like people might be able to find some things that really work with these. But you can see the double motion. I didn't have enough time to get that throw off there. The double motion, I mean, I think you can get real creative with this formation in these plays. The Y off trio weak is just really about different, right? It's things that we haven't seen in Madden before, like this quick fork zig over on the left here. Another very unique one. I'm just going to run it stock. We're probably going to get sacked here. I'm going to block the running back. But watch Rome Odunze. Let me actually just streak these guys up here so you can see. Watch how he kind of runs up, sits for a while, and then runs across the field. I just feel like if you have the time, that could be something very interesting mixed in with a bunch of other route combinations. And this is essentially a trips formation. So you can get, you know, trips routes that typically work, like route combinations that typically work. I'm really just freestyling here, but I'm just curious to see like how these things could end up playing a part with some of the traditional trips looks that you see and all of this new stuff mixed in. Next up, you have Bunch X Nasty, which this formation was the very reason why I used the Lions playbook last year for so long. There are some plays that are exactly the same, but there's some new ones in here as well. And one of the new ones that still kind of gives you the same look, but with a little twist, is the motion clear halfback seam. I can absolutely see this particular play being a meta play, one that you're going to run into a lot. Now, stock, it looks like it's doing a little bit too much here, but I really like that seam route coming from the running back. I think that's unique. I mean, you can always put your running back in a streak, but it gets out a little bit more wide. This one's more tight into the offensive line. You got the motion coming across from the outside receiver in the bunch on the right-hand side. You got DJ Moore in this dig route or inverted zig route. I would probably streak him as well, just to kind of get like a double streak set up on the left-hand side. If you want to block your running back or leave him on that route, you certainly can. Unfortunately, with the top of bunch receiver, you don't have any flat routes so far this year, so you can put him on a zig. You can put him on a speed out. Let me see if you can stem. Yeah, you can stem this down one. You can always go on another streak over here. You could go with like a drag in route combination. A lot of different things, but I really like the auto motion here and the differences and various things that you can do with it. I'm just throwing the football to throw it at this point. But this play, to me, has a ton of potential. Motion return spot, X post, and then motion return mesh flat. Two very good concepts where you're getting that auto motion from your tight end. I'll go ahead and run one for an example here, where he's going to start running to the left and come back right. But, you can definitely get like a nice little flood concept on the right part of your screen just by streaking Rome Odunze. Again, this is something that worked really well. And it's football concepts at the end of the day, right? I'm not throwing the ball because I'm just giving you ideas on these plays that you can run in the route concepts. But flood concepts like this have been working since football video games have been created. So it's just something to look forward to. You can probably stem down that corner route from the top of bunch receiver here, and we bumped into each other a little bit, but that one looked like it was going to get open. If the flat's there from the tight end on that motion, you definitely want to take it every time. These three plays here are going to be perfect. I mean, you got your standard inside zone to mix in the run. Smash return will be great. Mesh spot Again, another route combination that's worked forever and ever and ever. So I think all three of those plays are going to be great. Corner out dig has a nice little speed out there that should beat most coverages outside of probably like a cover two. And then you got that, you know, deeper corner route to flood the right side if you're running it on the right there. So I feel like this play stock is going to work good. But another thing that you're going to see a lot of people do with trips formations or bunch formations specifically is using the new slot fade hot route adjustment, which is working really well right now in college football 26 out of bunch tight end. But you're going to see setups similar like this, and I have no reason to believe, you know, something like this is not going to work very well this year. You can also do a route combination like this out of bunch, where you have a, you know, a post route from your tight end, a streak from the top of bunch receiver, and the return route from your outside receiver. If you did not know, the return route's going to be down on your directional pad. You can get that pretty much anywhere on the field. I mean, this isn't practical, but I'm just showing you that you do have that hot route available to you now from the standard option. So, you know, something like this could work, something like this could work, something like this could work. There's a lot of really good possibilities. And at the end of the day, it's bunch. So you got some auto motion mixed in here. You got some good concepts by default, but also with all of the hot routes available to you, you can cook with these as well. There are 3 different trips formations available here. You got regular trips, you got trips halfback weak, but you also have trips tight end flex. And again, you're looking at it, motion Y post over there on your left. Incredibly popular play, and I think it's going to work very well. Again, towards the end of Madden 25, I ran a lot of trips. And if you don't know the setup for this one, I mean, you can run it stock as is with the auto motion. You might be able to hit a deep shot there on the right part of your screen, but you got that stock return route by Luther Burden. You're going to have the post route from Cole Kmet. You can block your running back for a little bit more protection there, but this route combo works really well. Got the streak on the outside, but you can also do some adjusting, and personally, this is how I set it up, and you know, most people do as well. I'm not claiming that I created this, but this works really well as well, because you have now a slant that they got to worry about. If they cover that too hard, the computer's screaming at me, by the way, this entire video. We're playing on all Madden in practice mode, you know how that goes. But if they worry too much about the slant from Rome Odunze, you always have the post with the tight end. That was a bad read and an interception there, but that play is going to work tremendously well all year. Then you're going to have, you know, the popular plays that you've seen, like level sail is usually going to be very useful at the end of the day in a trips formation. Halfback angle is really, really good. It's a good man coverage beater, and if you can make the right reads, it can beat zone. Dagger has worked for years and years and years. And then one other play that I used a lot towards the end of Madden 25 was this PA fork. Now, if we get into a situation, I don't think loop blitzes are going to be really popular, at least to start out the year this year. But if you get into a situation where play action plays provide better blocking, because we've seen that so many years, this is one that just for whatever reason did really good blocking. So mainly I would put my tight end on a post like this. We'd actually block the running back and then drag the middle of the trips receiver. And we're kind of looking high-low read here. Burden's open, throw it to him, especially if you got a speedier receiver. We're just going to take the yards, rack it up the field every single time. But if you happen to have that corner route, it's a unique stock route there by, and I shouldn't have called it a corner route, by Rome Odunze. If you can throw it over the top of that cornerback, that nickel cornerback that was kind of waiting there, it's going to be open. But take that drag every time if you need to. And just to finish it up, we have tight Y off weak and tight open. Now, tight open has some very unique motions here, because if you look at these 3 plays by default, the running back's actually starting on the outside, and he's going to motion from left to right, and you got, you know, like a streak basically on the left. You got a flat route in the middle, and then another streak on the right with a bunch of other route combinations for your wide receivers. If you go through the other plays within this formation, the running back starts where he normally would. Dig Z spot is going to be really good. Bench dig pivot's going to be really good. Anytime you can get a stock, either inverted or normal zig route. I mean, bench return has the return route there. It's very easy to cook up good route combinations with those type of routes there. Mesh clear out looks like it's going to be pretty good. And even FK drive stutter. So, you know, those are some really good plays with some unique things with the motions and tight open. And then you got tight Y off weak, and I'm going to show you dagger H swing, which is probably the most basic play in the world here, but I run this play all the time in college football 26, and it's going to be a great mid blitz beater. And I'm telling you right now, people are going to run mid-blitz to start out the year. So specifically against that defense, I'll show you that in a moment. But when they're not in mid-blitz, the main thing I would do is put my running back on a streak and my square receiver DJ Moore on an out. That drag by default is just like better than your standard hot route drag. It looks the exact same, but for some reason it just feels like it gets open a lot more. And that's going to be your initial read in this setup. But we're kind of hoping that the C parts and you're going to see your running back just get wide open on that streak play there. I threw that a little prematurely, but typically you'll see number 4, the middle linebacker, kind of gravitate more towards the middle of the field, and if they do that, the streak's going to be open, and if they crash down on the drag or even the streak from the running back, then Rome Odunze on that backside in route gets open a lot of times here. But don't be afraid to just throw it to the drag. I get so many yards just racking that up the field. And this is going to be another reason why I go to this playbook to start out the year, because this play is just so basic, but it does such a great job of getting open various ways. And as long as you're making the right reads and not being afraid to throw it 3 yards and get yards after the carry, you're going to gain a lot as well. It's going to be hard to fully mimic what people will do in mid-blitz, just as I'm in practice mode here with one controller. But if you're going to play this game, you're going to face mid-blitz. And this is the setup that I want you to do if you're going to run this formation. You got basically that same drag, a backside standard slant from DJ Moore. You're going to put your running back on a wheel route, block your tight end, and keep Rome Odunze on that in route. They're typically going to forget about the running back, and he's going to hit home runs all the time. But if they do happen to cover that, the drag and the slant should get open. And if all 3 of the things on the left-hand side are covered, Rome Odunze is going to beat his man on the in route with any type of adjustments not really needed. And this one, like I said, this is going to be your mid-blitz killer. So if you run into that defense early on, which I predict you will, go to this formation, and if you have this play, or even if you just want to set up this route combination with hot routes, you can. I mean, this is an entirely different play, but look, I can go ahead and set this entire thing up just by hot routes here. Really, the main difference is we would have to like stem up that in route, but as you can see, if I could do the right read here, I kept putting the wrong hot route there for the running back. But you can essentially set this up out of any tight formation as long as the running back's on the same side there. Everything was just about covered, but then we got the in route. Luckily, this late or early into the year, we also don't have to worry about a ton of man coverage or zone coverage knockouts. That'll be a little bit tougher to make a throw there with knockouts factored in, but that's going to be a go-to play in tight Y off week. And then if you look at the rest of it, I mean, you have yourself an inside zone, right? Standard play. You have pivot return, which gives you a stock return route. And the reason that's going to be vital, yes, you do have the return route from your hot route options, but this one doesn't go up the field as much. So I feel like that one's going to work very, very well. The tackle trap is kind of a unique run play. And then you have the Y lead read option. We showed you some of the other, nice plays that could get a mobile quarterback involved. I feel like this formation can as well. And just one last play here is an RPO play. Like the Rome Odunze route's going to beat man coverage in an RPO a lot, but remember, you can audible these things. So if you want to put your outside receiver on the left side there, DJ Moore on a streak, you can still run this RPO like that. Unfortunately, you can't put Luther Burden out there. I would put him on a slant. I've done that in College Football 26 a lot. But if you can't hit the out route there, that seam could potentially get open. And that's not the only option, right? You can put him on a slant as well. But if you make a quick enough read, this has been an RPO with an out route like that on Rome Odunze, a speed out, has been really, really difficult to cover. And with this one, if they do kind of cheat to that one, you still have, a backside slant that you can throw. You can run the ball. There's a lot of different combinations you can go with. But between the trips tight end flex, the tight Y off weak, and the bunch X nasty, and then also throwing in normal Y off close, I think those are 4 fantastic formations to start the year out with some familiar route combinations. I do really think this Bears playbook is going to be a day one option for a lot of you. So if you're looking for something to start out with, go get that Bears playbook, especially for your ultimate team, and you should be able to score a lot of points with it. If you got any questions, leave it down below in the comment section. Thank you for watching. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.